What's going on, YouTube? This is your boy Ty, back with the Tyrone.tv sports vlog. Gonna get into a few topics today. Gonna talk about the Bills and preview Sunday's game against the Saints. Gonna talk a little bit about the NBA. Gonna talk about a trade that happened earlier this week. Gonna talk about the Knicks. Gonna talk about the Sabres and their win last night. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Mets and what they need to do as far as free agency. But I want to stay with the baseball for a second and address a tragedy that happened yesterday. Roy Halladay, who was a pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays and the Philadelphia Phillies from 1998 to 2013. He was a two-time Cy Young Award winner. He won one in the American League, one in the National League, was a World Series champion with the Phillies. Also, one of only two men in baseball history, the other being Don Larson in 1956, to pitch a no-hitter in the postseason. He also had many other accomplishments, and he passed away yesterday at the age of 40. He was involved in a plane crash off the coast of off of Florida in the plane crash in the Gulf of Mexico. Fortunately, he lost his life pursuing his lifelong dream of being a pilot. When he was playing, apparently there were provisions in his contract that prevented him from pursuing his pilot's license and becoming a pilot. So, with that said, I want to send my condolences to the Roy Halladay family, to the franchises of the Philadelphia Phillies and the Toronto Blue Jays, also to all his fans, all the fans of those teams, those cities, everybody that he touched. I just want to say, send my condolences and say rest in peace to a great player. And, for all, intents and purposes, a great man, Roy Halladay. So thank you for allowing me to do that, everyone. All right. So let's move on to the Bills. Now, for this week, it's going to be interesting. Bills come in at 5-3. Their opponent this week is the New Orleans Saints. They come in with a record of 6-2. They are leading the NFC South division. They are having a bit of a resurgent year, off of the strength of a newly improved defense. But it all starts with Drew Brees and his play. Guy's 38 years old, still playing like he's 28 years old. Just a phenomenal quarterback, an elite quarterback. He's in that category of the Tom Brady's, the Aaron Rodgers, those guys. So he's right. He's there in that conversation. So the fact that they are doing well, it should be no surprise given that he is behind center for them. But I would say the defense has a lot to do with their improvement as well. Now, with that said, Drew Brees has a lot of weapons around him as well. He's got a Mark Ingram, guy who's been there for a few years, a former Heisman Trophy winner, but now he's also in the backfield joined by a guy Alvin Kamara, who brings a skill set of a Darren Sproles kind of player, a guy who's a change of pace type of back, a guy you can bring in on third down, you can hit him out of the backfield, and with his speed and with his quickness, and elusiveness can turn a small play into a huge gain. So, a guy like that was surely missed for the Saints last year. Now they have that this year, and Sean Payton is the type of coach that loves to utilize these types of players. So, it's going to be interesting to see how the Bills defense matches up with the Saints offense. How are they going to contain these dynamic players? And not just in the backfield, but they also have a dynamic receiver in Michael Thomas, a guy who's been with the Saints, who was at the Saints. started with the Saints last year, and now is more comfortable and has more of a rapport with Drew Brees. That tandem is working out to be pretty good. So that's another matchup that we need to the Bills will need to worry about going forward. Now, as far as the Bills' offense goes, I'm starting to see this starting to see these weapons start to come back. We had a lot of injury. We had some injuries. Charles Clay in particular, and now with the addition of Kelvin Benjamin, we now have two weapons that Tyrod Taylor can use in the red zone. Two big bodies, two big guys who can get the jump balls, who can get open in space, and can make life a lot easier for Tyrod down in the red zone. Of course, you got Shady McCoy, you got Matthews, you got these guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how Tyrod Taylor can now distribute the ball. Is he going to be able to get more open guys and not have to rely on his legs as much, which I think is still has to be a part of the Bills' offense as well. We still need to be able to use that because having a quarterback who can run and can scramble is a huge asset to a team when teams are in nickel and dime packages and things of that nature, can allow the quarterback to get in the open field and make some big plays with his legs. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to make my pick for this game, however, on Friday. I'm going to do the Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, and Monday night games on Friday. Going to go a little bit more in depth on the Bills game, because we'll know a little bit more by that time. I'm not going to go too in depth on all the other games, but just going to give my picks, maybe give a little bit of analysis on each game. But you can expect that pick on Friday. For the Thursday night game, which is the Seahawks and the Cardinals, I'm going to give that pick tomorrow. Obviously before the game, it'll be probably around the same time. I'm going to do the vlog around the same time tomorrow. So expect to get that pick, a little bit of analysis for that game as well. So looking forward to this week's games. Can't wait. I'll actually be traveling. Hopefully by the time I get to my destination, the games won't be completely over. I'll probably be watching some of the pregame shows while I'm on the plane and doing that sort of thing. So looking forward to Sunday. All right. Now let's get to the Knicks and the NBA. Yes, the Knicks pulled out a huge win last night over the Charlotte Hornets. They beat them 118-113. KP, Kristaps Porzingis, 7'3". Kristaps Porzingis. I know the last vlog I said that he was 6'11". I apologize for that. I don't know. I think I was thinking about Antetokounmpo when I was describing him or whatever, but somehow I got that messed up. So yeah, KP 7'3". KP hit a tie-breaking 3-pointer toward the end of the game, which sealed the victory for the Knicks. It was the Knicks' third straight win, and it's it's getting to be interesting. The Knicks are starting to look like a team that may indeed contend for a playoff spot. I think it's a little bit too early to tell, given the length of the season, and we got to see how some of these other teams start to bring it together. The Clevelands, Boston is having a great start, despite what happened to Gordon Hayward, and want to say shout out to him and wish him a speedy recovery as well. But we got to see how the rest of the season plays out first. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping the Knicks can get a 7 or 8 seed. Would be nice just to get back into the playoffs, get back into that mode of playoff basketball at MSG, and hopefully the Knicks can continue on and continue to play well. They do need to play a little bit better on the defensive side of the court, but I think that'll all start to come together and and that'll start to gel as the season progresses. So big win and great win by the Knicks last night. Now, I also want to address a trade that went down last couple of days. Eric Bledsoe, who was much maligned in Phoenix over the past couple of weeks over a tweet that he sent while he was at a hairdresser or a beauty salon with his girlfriend. He sends a tweet that said, "I don't want to be here." Now, many people can interpret that, in many different ways. He could have been talking about the girl, or being with his girl at the hair salon, or a lot of people, or the Suns organization, I should say, felt that he was talking about being in Phoenix and playing for the Suns because around that same time, the head coach Earl Watson was fired. So I'm pretty sure that Eric Bledsoe and Earl Watson had a good relationship, but apparently the Suns organization took it as if he was saying that he didn't want to be there anymore, so therefore they, deactivated him until they could find a suitable trade partner for them. So, and they did with the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks sent Greg Monroe, power forward, center type player, rebounder, a good defender in the paint, and also they sent over a first round and a second round protected draft pick to the Suns for next year's draft. So we'll see what type of compensation that'll turn out to be for the Suns. I'm assuming that this pick is a pick where even if the Bucks did better this year or has a really good record this year, the Suns will still be able to pick within a specific level, like maybe in the top 15 picks or something like that. I'm not 100% sure how those picks will work, but my guess is that the Suns will get 2 picks, one the first, one the second. That'll be within the first 15 or maybe even first 20 picks or something to that effect. So we'll see how that plays out. See what those picks turn out to be for the Suns. But right now, I think the Milwaukee Bucks got the better of the deal. Clearly. You wanted to get Bledsoe out of there. The Suns did, but the Bucks got a great player in return, and it's going to be even more emphasized once Eric Bledsoe is under the tutelage of Jason Kidd, a Hall of Fame point guard, a guy who probably is in the top, I would say probably at least top 10, maybe even top 8. Of greatest point guards ever played in a game. I mean, you talk about Magic, and you talk about Tiny Archibald, and you talk about John Stockton, and you talk about guys like that. These are your Mount Rushmore of point guards. Well, Jason Kidd's, I think he's got a rightful place on that stone. So we'll see how it goes for Eric Bledsoe. He's going to be playing with a dynamic player in the Greek Freak. We'll see how they mesh together. We'll see how that affects Antetokounmpo's handling, ball hand. He handles the ball a lot in that offense. So we'll see how everything goes with that trade. But it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes down. And yeah, hopefully it'll be it'll be beneficial to the Bucks in the long run. And but not against my Knicks though. So let's hope for that. All right. So now let's move on to the MLB and the Mets. All right. So last vlog I talked about some players that the Mets talking about in the next vlog about some players the Mets should look to go after in free agency. The Mets had the last year was just it just wasn't a good year last year for the Mets. The pitching wasn't great. Due in large part to the injuries sustained by the rotation and also in the bullpen. But always a issue with the Mets is their offense. Even when we went to the World Series a few years back, we were still kind of deficient on the offensive side. As far as getting guys on base, getting manufacturing runs, that sort of thing. So it's kind of been an issue for the Mets lately. Not since Jose Reyes's, his prime years when he was with the Mets, when he was stealing 50, 60 bases a year and getting all those triples and everything. The Mets haven't really had much speed and much and good base running on the base pass, whether it was trying to steal, getting a scoring position, or getting triples and doubles and things of that nature. So a player I think that can help the Mets in that regard, not just with that, but also with his glove and also in the clubhouse. A guy that's not gonna that's going to be a positive presence in the clubhouse. A guy that's going to bring World Series experience, guy that's going to bring playoff experience is Lorenzo Cain. He was on that Kansas City Royals team that beat the Mets in 2014. I think he checks off all the boxes when you're looking for a guy who can play multiple outfield positions. He played about 20 something games in right last year, and I think in the previous year as well. But he primarily played in center. So I think you need a guy like that, in center to take the pressure off of Cess and Cespedes and Conforto. Those two can play can move to the corner position. Probably Cess in left, Conforto in right, or whichever is more comfortable for either guy. But I think you can, use a Lorenzo Cain interchangeably with those two players. And then you got guys like Lagares and things like that. If there are any injuries or anything to that effect, that can come off the bench and fill in. So I think it'd be a great move for the Mets. I think it's a move they should consider. I know the Royals. I think I've read that the Royals are looking to try to retain him, but at what price? Can the Royals outbid the Mets if the Mets were to come in and with a good offer? How much that is, I don't know. I couldn't tell you what. I know what I would offer him, but it doesn't really matter. I think with the payroll and everything, I'm not sure how all that works. I'm just going to be straight up with you. I'm not even going to try to figure it out, because it's very complicated system. I know the Mets with Major League Baseball, there isn't a salary cap per se, but what are the Mets' priorities? I know they re-signed Asdrubal Cabrera, gave him an $8.5 million deal for 1 year though, which isn't a whole lot when you're talking about a starting shortstop in the he'll actually be playing second this year. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. 4 years, $60 million. You throw at him. You throw at Cain maybe. That's to me seems fair. I mean, he's 32. He'll be 32 at the start of next season. Again, a guy who's he hasn't hit a lot of home runs in his career, but again, a guy who checks off all the other boxes. Speed, steals bases, has a good glove. Can hit for average, can get extra base hits, and also a great guy in the clubhouse. So, Mets, make that consideration. Saint Laurent's okay. All right. So now I want to go into a guy who I think the Mets need to consider retaining, and that's Matt Harvey. I know people are going to think, "Oh, you're crazy. This guy was terrible last year. He's a head case." Blah blah blah. But I don't think so. I think the Mets, if they're gonna do something with Matt Harvey, they need to wait to see what they have this year out of him. I think you got to give the guy another one more spring training. See where he's at. See where he's at physically. Has he recovered from the injuries? Has he recovered from the mental stuff that's been going on with him? See what his value is to not just for trades, but also to your team. Could this guy be a third starter in a rotation with Jake DeGrom or Noah Syndergaard, 1A, 1B, and then you bring in a Harvey, a guy who has when he's healthy has been dominant. He has been a dominant pitcher. Are his days done? Is this it for him? Have we seen the best of him? Hard to say, because we haven't gotten a big sample size out of him. We haven't gotten 30 starts out of this guy in a while, and maybe that's why the Mets are considering getting rid of him. But I really think that the Mets should look to keep him for at least through the first half of the season, up until the All-Star break. See what he does. If he's like 4-3, with a 2.70 ERA, I'd take that. I would definitely take that, or whatever his record might be at that point. If he's got 15 starts and he's got 4, 5, 6 wins and a good ERA, I mean that should tell you right there, you need to hold on to him. But with that said, that should be predicated on what the Mets record is. Now, if the Mets are contending for a wild card or whatever, or even the division, hopefully, but I doubt that because the Nationals look to be strong again this year. But if the Mets are in the playoff hunt, then you got to hold on to a guy like that. Or if the Mets aren't, going to be contending, then you have some trade value that you can give to it. You can show to another team. You can say, hey, this guy has gotten over his mental stuff. He's gotten over the physical stuff. He's back to the old, Batman or whatever. So give us whatever. Second round pick. I don't know. Whatever the Mets would need at that time, if they want to bring another young guy in, they can definitely use that as trade bait. A better season by Matt Harvey. So I don't think the Mets should give up on him just yet. They definitely shouldn't just outright release him. They need to get some value out of him because I think it's there. It just needs to be brought to the top. So yeah, Mets, hold on to Matt Harvey. Do yourself a favor. All right. Now, finally, gonna talk about the Sabres and the NHL. Sabres had a big win last night over the Washington Capitals. They won 3-1. Evander Kane scored 2 goals. One off an assist from Jack Eichel. Again, that combination I was telling you about in the last vlog showed up again. So, long as these two guys are playing together on the same line, I see a point a night from these guys for the entire season. I mean, they're that good. They're that dynamic. Kane got him an assist off the boards, off a beautiful pass, one timer right into the net. It was a perfect shot. So Evander Kane then scored on the empty netter, and the second goal, basically the game went like it was 1-0 for the first, I think maybe like first 30 minutes or so of the game, 35 minutes of the game, and then Robin Leonard, the Sabres goalie, made a bit of an error, made a bit of a mistake when he was going out to play a puck, and Alex Ovechkin, probably the greatest goal scorer of this generation, beat them and was able to tie the score. The game winning goal went to Benoit Pouliot, who came over from the Sabres, from the Oilers. A very dynamic player in the beginning of his career. I got to admit, I didn't know that much about him until like a little while ago. But I got to see some highlights of him, see him play when he was with Boston. Guy's dynamic player. So if he can go back to that level of play, and that was indicative of last night, then we should see some big things out of him and also the Sabres offense. So yeah, again, good win for the Sabres last night. The Caps, they were coming off of a back to back or played like 3 games and 4 nights or something like that. So Caps were a little bit tired. It's good that the Sabres were able to take advantage of that and get a big win at the First Niagara Center in Buffalo. So again, good win by the Sabres. Hopefully they can keep it up and continue. They're sitting at 5-8-1, I believe, to start the season. So yeah, key for the Sabres is they need to get back to 500. They get to that 500 level, then we can start looking at going up higher in the standings, and then moving forward. So again, good win by the Sabres. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. It was a pleasure talking to you guys again. Looking forward to tomorrow's episode. If you like the video, if you like if you like what I'm saying, please subscribe. Please comment as well. I respond to the comments really quick. When they come in on my phone, I'm usually typing away. So yeah. So please, send your support, send your love. Looking forward to talking more sports with you guys in the coming days, and looking forward to tomorrow's episode. So take care, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Peace.